It's the biggest shake-up in how local government works in decades, and it's causing Norfolk a bit of a headache. Devolution, the government's offer to send more local powers to our region, an elected Norfolk and Suffolk mayor, and a pot of money to spend on local priorities. That may sound simple, but it's not proving to be for our local politicians.
The problem is, I am not the damn chairman.
An extraordinary meeting was called at County Hall this morning, with 2 weeks to go until councillors have to decide on the idea, but it didn't go smoothly. The leader of the opposition there has described it as one of the worst meetings in history. There were interruptions, accusations, and a lot of frustrations. But the leader of the council says it needed to be done.
I had a lot of people coming into my office and they were confused about this. They didn't understand that. And the questions they were asking me. So it may be a good idea before they have to make the biggest decision they're going to have to make as local politicians in the future of Norfolk. They better understand what they're doing. There was a lot of good questions there and there was a lot of disruption. There were some people there irrelevant of what was going to go on. They were going to try and disrupt the meeting.
So why is it all such a mess in Norfolk? Well, 4 of our 7 district councils have already opted out, leaving many questions over how it would all work.
To go ahead with this without Norwich, without Great Yarmouth, without North Norfolk, without Breckland, it's ridiculous. You know, it just is. And we have to really go back to the drawing board, start again. There's been too much pressure on councils, too much dictation from the central government. I think in a couple of weeks' time we will still end up by telling the government this deal, as it stands, is not going to work for Norfolk and Suffolk.
But the devolution deal is not dead yet. In the end, the Chamber agreed leader Cliff Jordan should continue discussions with the government in the run-up to the final vote, but only if he emphasises they don't want to have a mayor. The problem is, the government says that's simply not an option. A standoff then, and a rather complicated one at that. Public Affairs correspondent for the Eastern Daily Press, Dan Grimmer, was at the meeting.
It did get a bit farcical at points. I don't think the chairman had particularly good control over the councillors, but to some degree it's pretty much become par for the course sometimes with our local councils that they have meetings which go a little bit awry. And I think one of the big things with that meeting was that no one really knew why it was being called. And I think from the off there were some people there that wanted it to descend into farce and they were agitating for it to be difficult.
So with just 2 weeks left of negotiations, the devolution deal seems to be hanging by a thread. And while many councillors and members of the public are still questioning the process, others have been left questioning the point. Lauren Hewitt, Mustard TV, Norwich.